Hello and welcome to another episode of Corgi Town USA. I am Candy. In my lap is Chuckles, our spokescorg.
And I am Catherine. Somewhere around my feet is my darling Digby.
Digby the doof.
Digby the doof. Still at home is the honorary corgi, Indy. He's 16 now.
Aw,
Yeah, and
the
he's
old
a
guy.
sweetie. He's an old guy, and as of the recording of this, I have at this moment three fosters, three new fosters. That's what I've been doing in the off season. Puppies, and they Mama's a German Shepherd, and we got a call out to please come foster the little shepherds, and that's what we're doing.
Cats fostering the puppies.
I am.
Well, welcome back to season 6 of the Corgi Town USA show. I don't know how in the world that happened, but here we are.
Here we are.
120 some odd episodes in.
Yep.
Dizzying. But if you're new here, hi, welcome. We're here to support corgi parents and, pet moms and dads and families with information on health, training, grooming. We have a creator series. We also do a number of interest pieces, which would be today's.
Today is an interest piece. And I just want to say what I've been saying to people in the off season is, yes, we are Corgi Town USA, and yes, we are corgi centric, and we are pet centric. We're dog centric.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things do apply to cats.
Yeah. You're the cat aficionado.
I'm the cat aficionado. Cat is the cat aficionado. Please tell your friends, your dog parent friends about us,
so we can keep doing this.
And like and subscribe.
Yes,
for sure.
Like, subscribe, share, spread the word.
Spread the word, and it's not just about corgis.
No.
We have a lot on corgis, but it's not just about corgis. So
Pet-centric.
Pet-centric.
Well, should we bring our guests on?
I would love to talk a little bit more to our guests today.
Okay. Well, we have dog mom Kara on, and if you don't already, you should follow Ollie the tripod corgi on the socials. She's going to come on and tell us about Ollie's story, and we are happy to welcome them. Kara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, Ollie is so cute. Ollie is twins. Ollie is twinsies with Digby. So
is he twinsies? He's a red. Ollie's a red.
Oh,
a red and white. Yes.
Okay.
If you are listening,
not a tan and white.
Thank you so much. We encourage you to pop over to our YouTube page so that you can see this episode on the camera, because Ollie's joining us via camera so that we have that option. But hi, Ollie. Hi, Kara. So happy to have you guys today.
What a sweetie.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, I know. I'm totally in love with them. Let's talk about, if you want to just introduce yourself, talk about you, your pets. We'll start there.
Very good. My name is Kara. We are in the northeastern part of Maryland, and we have 3 dogs, Ollie being the corgi, 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels,
Aww.
and an outdoor cat. So we've got a lot going on here, but so this is Ollie. He was born with a front limb deformity called Ectrodactyly. It could also be called lobster claw or split foot, and you can kind of see here, it's just he's missing some bones in his foot.
Aww.
And so it's special. We call it his chicken wing, Chicken Little. It's got a lot of nicknames. We love it so much, but yeah, he's got a couple toe beans on there, and yeah, it makes him even more special to us.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. And do we know much about the commonality of this? Is it a genetic deformity?
Congenital deformity. It is considered rather uncommon or rare. It's pretty rare. And it doesn't necessarily just affect corgis. It's actually in a lot of breeds of dogs. It can affect humans as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yep. We had in a couple past seasons, we had 3 corgis, 3 crazy corgis on.
Yes.
Remember that family, Linda,
Yep.
and they have Boots.
Yep.
Who
Boots.
has, and so we had, gosh, that was like season 2. Boots was a puppy.
Yeah.
They hadn't had him very long. And I think that's the same condition?
I believe, I'm pretty sure that Boots has the same, but Boots has both front paws are.
Right. So he had that front fabricated wheelchair that the university did. It was really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that with us. Please tell us, I want to hear, how did you get or not encouraged, inspired to get a Corgi? What made you want a Corgi? How Ollie came to be? We would love to hear that backstory. How you
Sure.
found each other.
Sure. So back in 2020, we at the time we had two Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, Wrigley and Toby. And they were both 4 years old, and Wrigley came down with cancer, and it was very
Aw.
aggressive, and we knew we were going to lose him. And that was
Sorry.
very difficult. Yeah, that was very difficult. He was kind of that soul dog with me.
Oh yeah.
Very, very special dog. Not going to get emotional, but a very special dog to me. We had a very, very good, close connection. And knowing that we were going to lose him, Cavaliers need that companionship.
Okay.
And so we were between another Cavalier, but we had also been really interested in Corgis. So my family and I discussed it, and we were like, you know what, let's get a Corgi. We looked into it. We thought we knew what we were getting into. And I don't think you're ever really prepared until you actually are in it. So
Definitely.
Yes.
yeah. So it was right before we lost Wrigley. We knew we had a very short time with him, but we wanted to kind of introduce the new dog so that Toby wouldn't go through grief, which that didn't actually make any difference. Toby definitely grieved Wrigley, even though we
Of course.
Ollie. It wasn't the wisest thing, I would say, thinking that let's introduce a new. We probably shouldn't have, but I will say that I feel like it was meant to be.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So well, we talked about that with Lap of Love. We talked about we've done several on grief. We've done several episodes on grief.
Yeah.
And Lap of Love talked about that, about not only your entire family grieving the loss of a pet, but the other pets in your home do as well.
Absolutely.
It's palpable.
For sure. Yeah. Toby really, the dynamic has been upside down on its head ever since then, honestly, because the dynamic that we had with two Cavaliers has never been the same introducing a Corgi. And we also have another Cavalier since then, but that's okay. We love the dynamic that we have here. But yeah, Toby definitely grieved pretty hard, which was really hard on us as well. You know, both of us, or all of us, really feeling it. But so anyway, we were looking for a Corgi, and to be transparent, we weren't very knowledgeable on ethical breeding, things like that. We came across a website that was listed a few Corgis, and we're like, oh, let's inquire about it and look into it. And when we called, they said, we're sorry, we don't have any more Corgis. And we're like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then before we hung up, they said, well, we actually do have one, but he's got a funky foot, basically. And I was like, oh, well, why didn't you say that? Like, you know, why did you say that it just didn't make sense to me why this was kind of like pushed off this. I know we don't have any, but then technically they did. So with that being said, we went and saw him and fell in love immediately. Again, the not being super familiar with the breeding things, we still couldn't leave him. I couldn't, when we asked about, you know, what would you do? You know, what are you going to do with this dog if we don't get him? Oh, we're not sure. You know, we might, it was never, go ahead.
Oh, I just said yikes.
Oh,
They weren't sure. Yeah, gosh. I don't even want to think about where my mind would go with we're not sure.
And that's where my mind went. And I was like, if we don't take him, and he was clearly the last of the litter being picked. Yeah. And I'm one for the underdog, literally. And so I was like, we've got to. So we talked it over with my husband, and knowing full well that we were taking on even more than what just taking on a typical Corgi would be. We knew that he was going to be special needs. And we discussed it. And the next day we went and got him. So I don't regret it one bit. I feel like we saved him from potential doom. And so, but at the same time, if we ever were to do again, I would probably go about it a different way. But we have Ollie now, so he is a very special part of our family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you for saving his life, because that's exactly what you did. You saved his life, and
Who knows?
We're not even
We're not even going to go of the what ifs. We're not
Yeah.
even going to go there.
not even going to go into the bad breeder stuff, but
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're not, because we do that a lot.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
I feel like we should talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So
part of what you do here.
I will say that this particular anomaly is not because of bad breeding.
Sure.
This Ectrodactyly can spontaneously happen. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how well bred. It wasn't because of bad breeding.
Sure.
We did learn that, but what would happen to him would have been not
Right.
That's a human thing, and we humans are not the best at all times. What would and maybe not. Let's give these people credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, and we've talked about that before. Again, we don't mean to disparage any cultural or religious group by any means, but the Amish pump out a lot of puppy mills
Yes.
because animals are commodities to them. So it's
Absolutely.
cultural that they're not seen as sentient beings with feelings and thoughts and emotions. They're seen as to serve, and so that serves them well, being able to sell a popular breed. It hasn't been just corgis, but specifically lately they've been pulling out a lot, and they our friend Melissa from East Coast Corgi Rescue has, because she works up in the Northeast, deals with a lot of them that end up rehome because of poor temperament. They're crossbred, all the things that we really don't want in our beloved breed.
Right.
And they will do things that you don't want to think about if they can't sell the puppy, or they're not useful to them, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But without getting too far in the weeds for that.
Yep.
I also want to talk about, this is reminding me of older episodes, because we also did Murphy and the Unethical Breeder.
Yes.
We had a guest that had a dog that she wanted a corgi, and she thought, I'll start AKC. That's reputable, right? Because they should be registered.
No, it is not.
Hold on. Don't say no, it is not. We are grateful for the AKC for a number of reasons. So I'm not going to say no, it's not. That's incorrect. However, it's just a portion of what they should be doing. The reason why they should be registered with AKC as far as breedership is because you can trace lineage.
Yes.
You can make sure there's not crossbred. You can trace back to championships, bloodlines, etc. That is preservation breeding. That's keeping good, strong, healthy breed stock with good temperaments. That's how we get these wonderful pets when they're done right. So that's why AKC is important. But she didn't realize that there's a whole lot more to it, and just had a very bad experience. So that's Murphy and the Unethical Breeder. Really good episode, what she went through with Murphy. Ended up losing an eye. He had to have surgery to get his eye removed. He was very sick.
Definitely another saved baby.
Yeah, she has another one. That guest actually has another corgi now too, and she went to a different breeder, thankfully, from what she learned. So
yeah, I'm still learning, honestly, and I have a lot of friends, I would say, on social media that are breeders, and I've been learning, but it's still a lot over my head, and so I feel like there's a lot that is not understood, and I'm definitely part of that group that there's a lot that's not completely understood. So I appreciate you guys educating people on that.
Well, we just did our finale. Season 5 was like, what makes a good breeder?
Right.
And we talk about genetic testing first and foremost. I have not been convinced that there's any excuse to breed an at-risk litter.
Right.
I understand that you reduce breeding stock if you have a risk, and it's a balancing issue. I've always remained open to that, to the good preservation breeders, because they're like, well, if you get rid of this, then you could lose a good breeding stock with good temperament and somebody who's healthy otherwise and well conformed. But I mean, DM going through that,
it's a really difficult thing, and going through having a tripod.
Yeah. It's challenging.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the challenges and what it is like. He is adorable.
We love him.
Thank
you. So there are challenges. We find that there's a lot that he can't do that a typical dog could do, such as walking any certain distance. He gets tired out very easily. So we have to make accommodations for him. We have, long story short, he was on a television show called The Wizard of Paws to try and get a prosthetic, which he did.
Oh,
Yeah, it was neat. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to use it because a series of events where he got sick, and then 2 weeks later, so we weren't literally the last day of filming, he got sick, and then by the time he was feeling better, and we were going to try him that night with his prosthetic, and we're given the clear from the vet, he tore both ACLs.
oh
And-
goodness.
man.
Yeah, so he had surgery. So that was last November. So he had surgery in January. And being that tripod had made his recovery go from what should have been, 8 weeks or so to like 16 to 20 weeks.
Right.
Part of that was because we couldn't get the cowboy out of, or the rodeo out of the cowboy. You know, he's a corgi and takes a lot to keep down. And we had to we found out after 8 weeks where he should have been healing, one knee wasn't, and it had to do a little bit with the balancing, a lot to do with his energy level as well. So some more calming meds really upped those, kind of kept him chill, and that turned into a much longer recovery. That was hard because keeping him contained, you want to see your corgis having fun and doing the things. And unfortunately, we had him in a 4x4 area pretty much 24/7.
You didn't have a choice. Yeah.
You don't have a choice. And it was for his good, but it was hard. It was very, very difficult. For us, even. We wanted to interact. I mean, we would get in his crate with him. I would go live with him on TikTok and sit with him a lot, but just in general, he was in there a lot. So there was that with just a recovery from ACL, CCLs. Obviously, dogs are very common injuries, but being that he was a tripod definitely caused that recovery to be much longer.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's to be expected, but it was twice as long.
But both ACLs, you said.
Both ACLs. He had bilateral TPLO surgery in January.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah,
What a little champion.
Yeah, I feel like dogs in general are very resilient, but I would say corgis really top the list there with being the stubbornness kind of works out in their favor, I think, because they're driven and are going to push through even if it's in pain. And he's a little ball of fire. I love it. I mean, I do love it. I love that about them. So
yeah. Well, thank you for taking such good care of him. And I mean, that's hard for you guys. That's hard emotionally, financially, and just logistically having to do all that.
Yeah, it was a difficult time, but now we're on the other side of it. So doesn't mean that there's not still things that pop up, but in general, I feel like the big thing has kind of gotten behind us at the moment. So that's where we are now.
Now, will he be able to wear the prosthetic or use the prosthetic?
Great question. So because of this surgery and recovery, then we went through a couple months of hydrotherapy and laser therapy for him before we were even willing to try his prosthetic. Okay. And then when we went to one of his last appointments with the rehab, we tried his prosthetic on, and there was just some concern because although he took to it initially for the show, for filming of the show, he actually did really, really well. And by the way, that whole ACL injury was completely unrelated to the prosthetic.
Oh, I'm sure.
Nothing to do with it. It was 2 weeks after the fact, and it was a sudden he couldn't walk, which I did start to worry that it was other even worse things, honestly.
Sure.
But so we tried him with his prosthetic, and he was kind of winging it out. When he would walk, he would just kind of kick it out to the side, and he wasn't walking on it the way he should. And we also think that maybe his stature is a little bit different since surgery. So the height seems a little high. So the concern is that the prosthetic isn't perfectly sized to him now after the fact. So we're concerned that he could injure himself. So with that being said, we did have a wheelchair for him. We got that for him when he was young, but being a stubborn corgi, he'd just sit there and look at us and would not move. He would airplane mode with those ears and said, nope. And we tried with him. But then recently we tried again. We actually took it to his rehab, and suddenly he's actually going a distance, not a great distance, but he is using it and learning to trust it. So that is actually where we're more leaning now is to
Yay!
try his wheelchair. And it's a little
Okay.
bit tricky inside using a wheelchair because there's so many obstacles in it. You really got to learn he has to learn how to navigate around things, down hallways. And when he bumps into something, he gets a little bit weirded out because he bumped into something because these wheels are, front wheels.
Yeah.
So we're still working with him, but I think we're going to have success. I think we've seen success already. So I think it's going to continue.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'll continue on with him.
Corgi on, Corgi strong.
Corgi on, Corgi strong. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the chronicles of this as you get him used to the wheels and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, we're working with it. And, I try to post on social media as we go through and keep everybody kind of watching his journey. But yeah, he's doing well. We've taken him outside. He unfortunately rolled I don't know if you saw that. It got some attention because he saw a squirrel on the tree and just took off like a bat out of hell and rolled his wheelchair. He was fine. It did scare me at first, but I flipped him back over like a turtle, completely fine, and just kept rolling with the punches. But it was after he's okay, then you can laugh about it. In the moment, I wasn't laughing, but after the fact, I was like, oh, he's totally fine, But it was kind of funny. But he just got a little ahead of himself.
Yeah, you should, if you haven't seen the video, it's cute and funny, but I can also see Mom going, oh no.
Oh, in the moment I was, And of course that was all edited down. It took me like a minute to flip him over and I'm freaking out that he's hurt and he wasn't. I flipped him back over and he was fine. But yeah, in the moment it was like, I would have never posted it if he was hurt.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
For sure. And I'm sure he was stunned for a minute. Like, what in the world just happened? I was on the way to get a squirrel.
Yeah. Why am I in this thing upside down? So anyway, but yeah, so he's still learning. We're still learning. He's now in some training classes and they're going to work with him with his wheelchair as well. So.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The training classes.
You guys are such good parents.
So
thank you.
What other obstacles having a corgi, and we talked a little bit off show about carrying him and having him like that. What other obstacles have you run into?
Judgy McJudgersons.
I wasn't going to be the one to say that humans sometimes suck.
We get a lot of the haters. We get a lot of judgment. We just took him to the beach recently. And of course, I've taken him to the park and pushing him in his stroller. But, that's one of his accommodations is that we push him in a stroller if we're going to go for a long distance. And at first glance, you would look at him and think he's a perfectly healthy dog. You wouldn't see, especially being a low rider, you don't really see this deformity on his front paw, and especially being in the stroller. And a lot of people make faces, or you see this kind of like eye roll or judgmental. Now, I will say most people are not that way.
Sure. Yes.
But that negative kind of stands out sometimes, and you want to explain yourself. You feel like you need to there's a good reason for this. Like, we're not just spoiling him, although I don't care if you spoil your dog. I actually have a video getting ready to go up speaking about the fact that at least you're spoiling your dog and not doing the other end of the spectrum. If your dog was completely capable, I would much rather see that. Yeah. But also feeling like I need to explain myself. And of course, getting some of the comments online, and you try to take it in stride, and then eventually it kind of bubbles up, and then I make a video.
Because we're sensitive to it, because you care. I mean, you love these little beings, and when someone comes at you and judges you for how you're handling them, we're sensitive to it because you want to protect. Yeah.
Not only that, sometimes there are children with these adults who should know better. And now we're teaching a new generation to
lack of tolerance,
lack of, understanding. And it's not just animals. Now we're, I am sure that, these are the same people that eye roll when someone is in one of those cart things instead of a wheelchair. Okay, I can accept a wheelchair because that's the standard. But
the supermarket?
That supermarket cart, what, why are you in there? Well, I know my late husband toward the end, when we went to Costco, he went into a car because he
Didn't have the
couldn't
stamina.
walk. He didn't
Yeah.
have the stamina.
Yep.
And we got the eye rolls, and I just wanted to punch people.
No.
Yeah.
And so
That is your way.
that is my way. But unfortunately, we're training a next generation, because you look up at mom and dad and you go, oh, it's okay to judge.
I
And I just don't like that.
I think the takeaway here in your situation and Ollie's situation, and certainly any of those boxes that you can check, it's often a lack of perspective. I think that for the most part, people are not ill-meaning. You do have your proverbial turd in the punch bowls from time to time, especially on social media. But
yes,
because they're behind the curtain, right? They don't. They're not going to say it to your face because they're not in that situation. But I think it's lack of perspective. I always say perspective is everything. And it's
Very true.
easy to form an opinion on a situation when you don't see the other side of it.
right.
And then make an assumption, right? Like assumptions are just not healthy. So I love that you brought that up, that we're talking about this and how you have to kind of carton. I want to bring up the perspective that I love everything you're doing for him.
Well, thank you.
Your life is a large part of it is managing your pets, all of them, but also making sure that Ollie has a very full, well-rounded, good dog life. And that's huge. And I think that that's the perspective we need to shift to. Like whoever's commenting or whoever has an opinion, okay, maybe you don't like a certain facet of this. Have you not noticed that this guy's got it kind of made? He's
Yeah.
pretty loved and having a great life. And,
I think there's so many mistreated animals, pets.
Oh gosh.
unfortunately.
And like I said, I would rather, even if your dog is completely capable, I'm sure if you're pushing a completely capable dog in a stroller, most of the time there is a reason. Maybe they tire out. Maybe they have arthritis. Maybe they just had surgery. Maybe there's more going on than what you see. There always is.
And maybe there's not, and that's none of your business, in my opinion.
That's my point. Is I would so much rather see that. Like that person loves their animal. They're taking good care of their animal. I assure you that if that pet is in a wheelchair, that they're taking in a stroller, they're taking even really good care of them. Otherwise, they're going to make sure they're getting their exercise, because that's how much they care that they would do that. So I agree with this. I think that there's just there's a stigma going on, people with their purses and their dogs and things like that. And like I said, I would much rather see you taking extra good care of your dog than the other end of the spectrum. So
we might be about to lose equipment. We've got Zoomies in the studio.
Okay.
It happens. We just come right back. Welcome to Corgi Town, USA. The Corgis run the town. Yeah, but I mean, how much of that is jealousy too, though, right? I mean, I would love to come back as a dog in a purse.
Yeah, little teacup terrier.
I mean, that sounds amazing. Carry me around, feed me yummy food, tell me how amazing I am. I am not hating any part of this.
No, this is very true. This is very true.
That sounds amazing. I think that'd be my new one. Like, oh, you don't like these wheelchairs? You're just jealous. You want to be pushed around? I'm sorry, no one's doing that for you.
Yeah. Well, that is a good comeback. That is a really good comeback.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling us the story. If you want to tell our audience, I would love to educate everyone on how they can follow and support you with your journey with Ollie.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yes, Ollie can be found on pretty much all socials as Ollie the Tripod Corgi. That is my now full-time job, doing Corgi content. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a grind for sure. People don't realize how
it's a job.
It's a full time. I think I'm more busy now than when I worked full time. So, but yeah, so it's good. But yeah, Ollie the Tripod Corgi, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And I will drop those links. If you're not already following Ollie, you should. But I will drop those links down in the description box of this episode so that you have a quick click link so that you can see his journey.
Absolutely.
And I'm certainly in love with him.
And if you're walking around a park or a beach and you see somebody pushing around their pet their beloved fur baby or pushing around or in a wheelchair, please, send them over to Ollie's pages so that you need that support. I believe
Education,
perspective,
Sure.
and just somebody else that's going through it. Some days you just need to know that you're not the only one.
Yeah,
That is
100%.
true. That is true. And I appreciate what you guys too in educating people in corgi, like all things corgi and other dogs as well. But I do think that this is something that should get more traction, because I think that some people do just say, I just want a corgi, and they go into it blindly and they don't really know what's involved with getting a corgi, let alone a special needs corgi, but just a corgi in general. But also the potentials of what could come down the road with the corgi breed. So
Absolutely.
100%. And thank you for saying that. That's
Thank
very
you for your
validating.
support. Yes.
And I always think, maybe we're not screaming loud enough because we don't have enough haters. So I welcome them. That's the balance. That means you're shaking trees, right?
That's
yes,
right.
yes, exactly. Well said.
Well,
thank-
please give Ollie and the rest of your crew lots of belly rubs and puppy kisses from us. And thank
Sure
you so
will.
much for your time today.
Thank you so
Yes.
much, Candy,
Thank-
Cat, and Chuckles. It was nice talking with you.
And Booger and Mortimer
Murder
and
and-
Yeah, and all
Tito.
the crew.
Yeah.
The whole
The
crew.
whole
Digby.
Corgi
What
committee.
about my Digby?
Because we introduced
Digby.
Digby. We
Yes,
didn't
we did
introduce
introduce-
Mortimer and Tito this
That's
episode. Or
true.
Booger.
Or
Yeah.
Booger.
Had an honorable mention.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much.
Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. We both do.
Yes.
And please follow Ollie and his journey if you're not already. I certainly will be staying tuned.
Yes.
Have a heavy heartstring for him, especially the special needs pups. But he's also just super cute. And I think his mom's pretty
Yes.
fantastic too.
Yes, she is for the awareness. That's what we need is awareness.
Definitely spreading the word. Well, we hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. We're here for you every Thursday, all things corgi and pet parent lifestyle. Candy, Chuckles, Mortimer, Tito, Booger.
Cat, Digby. I had to count them all. Cat, Digby, and Indy, of course.
Everybody at the Corgi Committee. We'll see you next week.
Bye.